right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have video, we have audio, and we are back, and we are live with QPad versus Dignitas, game number 2, the remake. We're finally underway. We're going to have the exact same lanes. As I recall, before we had all our technical difficulties, Snake King actually died, and he will be intentionally dying around the same time to try and mimic how that game developed before the issues began. Anyway, before we get into all that, I'm LD of Beyond the Summit. I'm joined here by Vikramon, who is up at some ungodly hour. Vikramon, Vic, thanks for joining me.
Sure thing, LD. I'm only too happy to see this game. I mean, it's a high-stakes game, honestly. Dignitas, they start a game up, and if you win this series, you're essentially not home free, but you have a much easier time from the tournament here on in. Whoever actually wins it out, of course, have to go up against Navi, no slouches, but it becomes double elimination after here, doesn't it?
Yeah, this is actually the final play-in match, which was originally scheduled to be played about 3 or 4 days ago. Currently in the series, as you can see from this handy little green dot up here, Dignitas is leading the best of 3 1-0. So we head into game 2. I think we got about 2.5 minutes played before the issues began. Dignitas, in the end, was using a stand-in as one of those players was being DDoSed, I believe, during this time. So Snake King, he gave up first blood, and then the pause happened shortly thereafter. Then the game kind of fell apart. So we will see him die around the same time, sometime in the first minute or two. And you might be saying, why Snake King fading? Well, that's what happened before the issues began, so we'll see it happen again here. A first blood. I would get excited, but we've already seen this before, and QPad are just going to take it right off the bat.
Right. Now, I didn't actually see the, unfortunately, abortive second game, but I did watch the first game, LD, and it was pretty interesting. Dignitas just managing to outmuscle QPad in the end. And I really like this matchup in particular, because these are two teams that bring just such a different style of Dota to the table. QPad, of course, the highly freewheeling, very unique picks that really only this one team goes for. And the other thing, of course, is that they always go on the offensive. They want to win the game outright, sort of play very aggressively with Sing Sing, with Select. Dignitas, meanwhile, they're much more of a team that likes to sort of hunker down and grind out an advantage. So it's just two incredibly different styles that we're going to see at play. You
mentioned two different styles, and I realized that we failed to properly introduce the players as we've kind of been thrown into this one at the last moment, starting after the AP remake. So quickly, let's introduce them. Oh man, a legend. Well, at least an old school player from Dota 2. And from Dota 1 as well. We have Sexy Bambo standing in, playing that Clockwork. Solo mid for Dignitas. We'll have Snake King handling the Queen of Pain. Over in the jungle will be Solus, another stand-in, handling that Nature's Prophet. Over towards the bottom lane, way too sexy on the Rubik, and last but not least, it is Universe. So they are playing the Gyrocopters. They are missing Owie 2000 as well as Fogged. As a result, we're seeing some very different roles for them. The good news is, Snake King mid lane in a bit of a pickle here. Barely gonna blink away. Does survive. Here goes the turnaround from Solus. Wants to pick up Jerax. He will do so. No, denied by Waga. What a deny. What a play by Waga. So some wasted time from Solus in the end. They don't get the kill on Snake King, though, and they do still... well, they send that Leshrac back to base, which means Snake King can be a little more aggressive, but who do we have on QPad before the next kills happen?
I'll try to get it in quickly, because we may actually have a kill again pretty soon.
Oh no, Snake King in big trouble here. He has no blink. He'll go down again. He blinked forward to harass Waga. Okay, now we have a moment.
Right.
Who do we got?
Alright, so the man responsible for that excellent solo kill on Snake King right there is Jerax for QPad. He's playing up on this Leshrac in a dual mid role with their standard carry player Wagamama. Then, in the bottom lane, we do have Select playing his typical solo Magnus role. And then on the top, Mini farming that jungle up on the Chen and Sing Sing on... this is actually a first, I think, for QPad, running the Lifestealer on Sing Sing rather than Wagamama, but that is what he's going to pilot.
Yeah, they actually did run Sing Sing as a side lane solo in one of the other... in game 1 of this series. That game went off without a hitch, by the way. Oh, mid lane. Once again with Jerax, with the Split Earth, but there won't be a follow-up stun in time from Waga, so he will get away. But to go back to what you were talking about, they have, at least in game 1, they were experimenting a bit with the roles, and before the remake, it was the same lane, so seems like depending... Oh, man, again onto Snake. Are they gonna get him this time? Yes, they are. This double stun combo is doing work, and Snake King not having fun.
The crazy thing to me, LD, is that Jerax is setting these up. It's not the solo target stun setting up for the Leshrac. It's actually the excellent split Earth aim that's setting up for the Dragon Knight stun. So somewhat counterintuitive, but just absolutely excellent play from Jerax as a support here. As far as Sing Sing goes, one of the things I like about QPad is they are one of those teams that have semi-fluid roles. So we've seen Select go in the mid and Sing Sing solo safe, Sing Sing solo hard, Waga solo safe. They really rotate these guys around in the 1 to 3 roles. Usually Wagamama's on the hardest farmer, but not always even.
Yeah, they are pretty fluid with the rolls. I mean, I would say much less so than a team like Dignitas, but here we're going to see a smoke gank top. Jerax, he picked up that double damager, and he used the bottle of his Dragon Knight, I do believe. Yes, he did. And now Sexy Bambo, in a world of trouble, tries to cog his way out. Ain't going to happen, and down he goes simultaneously on the bottom lane. Select. Here comes the missile. Here comes the pain trade. It comes from Universe with a rocket barrage. The TP in from Solus as well. In the wrong place, it seems he will juke the split earth very nicely. No, but double damage Jerax doing work. Does he have another split earth in him? Does he need it? Mega kill. Double kill. We're 5 minutes in. This support dual lane mid Shrek is just running a train right over Dignitas. 2 stand-ins or not, he is playing. I mean, I would always say Arsart is the best Shrek I've ever seen on support. Jerax making a strong case that he is equally capable.
Jerax is out of his mind on Leshrac in this game, LD, and this is actually a hero that they've only started deploying very recently, I think in the last week to week and a half or so. Before that, they really didn't favor the Leshrac. They went for things like Lina, Lion, much more for that extra damage output. But Jerax is just milking this hero for all he's worth here. This is an astonishing game. I feel like QPad thought that they let the last game get away from them and didn't get a big enough advantage early on. Oh my god.
Again on Snake King, again with the stuns, way too sexy. Was waiting here. He was hiding in the trees to help counter-initiate. But in the end, he was just a few steps too far away, and really, what could he do? He's not a Shadow Demon. He can try for a lift, but he can't disrupt. He doesn't have boots. Another kill for this combo. And it's really just become the Jerax show, who is now, what is it, 6-1-1. Count him and weep if you're Dignitas.
He's the highest gold per minute person on this map. He's actually ahead of Sing Sing. Okay, now he's not, but he's keeping pace with Sing Sing's complete free farm top lane. I mean, a lot of times, LD, you see these sorts of teams with 2 aggressive supports that roam early. They don't even need mini. He can just sort of quietly farm away for that mechanism because Jerax is doing the work of about 3.5 supports this game.
And it's been a little while, but as I recall in mid lane, looks like Waga, just a little pressure onto him, but really it's a Rubik with no boots. What is he going to do? So while we have a moment, in game 1 they actually ran more of an aggressive dual roam combo, kind of LGDN style, really try to force the issue with the Chen. This time around, completely different. Mini's been sitting back and farming. He's already 5 at 6.5 minutes in, like you said. It's a style of play that gives you more options. If you don't have a good start, well, you're going to have a good start because of the creeps. And then if you go for some ganks, they don't work, no problem. Again, they'll go again. On to Snake King. The stun is here. Jerax has arrived. Centaurs to follow up. And Snake King from full health to none with 3 heroes there. But what can they do? An army of Centaurs descend upon the middle lane. And another kill on Snake King. This is an aggressive player, Vic. This is a player who's known for trying to force the issue. And sometimes it looks awesome, sometimes not so much. Right now, they've got his number. Now Jerax will go down. Universe baited him out, waited on the high ground, and picked him off, but yikes. Snake King is such a snowball player, but this is one of the few games where I'm seeing him snowball the wrong direction.
Absolutely. Yikes is right, LD. And I actually really like this approach that QPandas took because they know that Snake King was added to the Dignitas roster as a big mid playmaker. What he really added to Dignitas was that sort of killer instinct that I feel like they were lacking even with their good performance before. So QPad's logic here is we get the dual mid and we get very good execution for our support.
Oh, Snake King, is he really going to die to a Chen solo? No mana for the secondary stun. I was wondering where it went, but Snake King in the end will barely escape, and Mini going for some big plays of his own, but will end up giving away a kill. More importantly, giving away his huge army of creeps. Yeah. Well, that's probably gonna lose both Centaurs when it's all said and done, but yeah, well, Snake King, he gets his feet back in the water with that kill there, gets an assist to his name. Hey, it's something. He'll take anything he can get at this point.
He'll take anything, and he absolutely needs something, LD, because if they just completely shut... Oh, Jerax might go down.
Yeah, caught by a hook by Bambo, and nice rotation in. Snake King there with the haste turn to pick him off.
Bambo is actually a really important adjunct if anybody wants to duel Jerax at this point. Keep in mind, this Leshrac is tied for the highest level in the game.
Okay.
He's a support.
Snake King Dota. Doesn't matter if I went 0-6 to start the game. Double kill for me. Suck on that, QPad, is probably what Snake King is thinking to himself. He gets a couple kills. He gets his boots. He's got a null talisman in a bottle, which is quite awful farm, all things considered. But against the lane and against the way he started, he's got to be happy about this.
No question about it. I actually think that this is exactly the right approach for Snake King to take. You can fall into a trap with heroes like Queen of Pain and Storm Spirit, where if you start slow or you get ganked, you slow the game way down, but you're forgetting in those situations that your team's game plan revolves around you making plays. Sometimes, even though it might be the counterintuitive choice, you actually need to go more balls to the wall if you're a little bit behind to ensure that you don't fall much farther behind in the future.
Again with the stun, now it's a ranged Dragonite, the Split Earth is there, the Pulse Nova as well, and
Ouch.
Snake King, he goes down again. It's just, he can't help himself. He just keeps on trying to enter the lane, he keeps on trying to farm. And the problem for him is, what can you do? Because if you don't enter the lane, then you're not accomplishing a whole lot. Right. There's nothing really to gank right now. Are you going to gank a Lifestealer as Queen of Pain? That ain't happening. Not without the rest of your team there. And, well, if you look at the bottom lane, Select is very, very far back, and you're diving a hero that has RP. You're diving a team that is Chen, who can Hand of God, and, well, actually Hand of God isn't up yet, but is off the map a bit, so could definitely be there. It's dangerous to get aggressive on the side lanes. That means what else can he do except farm? So you can sort of understand why Snake King keeps on dying.
Way too sexy, by the way.
Yep, top lane, gets open wounds, now gonna get clapped, stunned, and down he'll go. Smoke ganked by QPad to set that one up, so... Wogga now caught mid lane. It looks like a hook was here from Mambo, but the Hand of God comes out, just got to level 6 on the Chen. He's still alive. He will go down. It takes 3 heroes to bring him down. But hey, they got the trade top, so... All things considered, they come out with a tier 1 to their name, and looks like they won't lose the tower mid. In spite of how this game has been developing, there are some rays of hope for Dignitas. We've been talking a lot about Snake King. We should really talk about the other players. Solus almost has a mechanism. Gyrocopter Universe farming very, very well. It looks like Sing Sing is out farming him a little bit, but still a game that Dignitas... Yeah, they're down 3k gold, they're down 3k experience.
Oh no, Bambo.
Oh no. I don't feel like they're out of it by any means, as Bambo will get caught out, or maybe it's Jerax who's caught. Snake King's on the hunt, Prophet ult splashing through, but will it be enough to kill him off? He tries for the TP. One hit, he'll go down. What is this game? What is this bloodbath? 18 kills in 11 minutes. It feels like double that, to be honest.
Absolutely. It's Dignitas taking a fairly aggressive approach themselves and just getting out-aggressed from minute 1 by QPad. But I agree with you, LD. I don't think Dignitas are out of it. The fact is, even a Leshrac that's doing very well is still countered effectively by Clockwork if Clockwork can maintain levels and get into the fights. The degree of participation that Bambo has for these Snake King roams and ganks is going to make a big difference for whether they work or not. Once Clockwork gets the jump on Leshrac, there is actually literally nothing that Leshrac can do because this cast point is longer than the battery assault interval. If they're able to take Jerax out of these fights, I feel like they've essentially equalized their position. The problem is right now, QPad have better rotation, better positioning, and fairly safe lanes for all of their core heroes.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, you really want to gank this free farm Lifestealer who's sitting at 5,700 net worth, armlet phase boots. You want to do something about him soon, because if you don't, well, QPad, they get that tier 1 mid, they maybe get the tier 1 bottom, which they can certainly do with their lineup, which we never even got to analyze the draft or the picks, because we just sort of got thrown into this game.
There was no draft.
Yeah, well, it was an AP remake. There was a draft, but it's a bygone draft. Who knows what was banned? They have a really strong pushing lineup, and if they get these 2 outer towers, the tier 1 mid, the tier 1 bottom, guess what? They also have a great Roche lineup with Empower, with a lot of physical damage, and a Chen to tank it all, so... this could be scary for Dignitas, I feel, and even in the remake, apparently, there are still pauses, there are still spikes.
Unfortunately, casting from a replay doesn't just... There is a TiVo, but it's going to be difficult for us to actually coordinate that up.
Yeah. Well, it was a short one, at least, so...
Oh, yeah.
So, Roche, I feel like they could easily go for Roche. Get the tier 1, even if they just go for it now, I mean, it's a little dangerous to do it now, but if they could just take 1 or 2 fights, even just bull rush the tower... What does Dignitas really have for counter push? They have some decent abilities like the Clockwork Rockets, Gyro ult, yes, Prophet ult, yes, but a lot of these have long cooldowns, especially some of those ultimates. Prophet ult, Gyro ult, you use that once, well, then you don't have it for round 2, and it looks like QPad, they're going to try for a bit of a push mid.
Absolutely. I do think they can Roshan, but they can't just do it outright. They have to do something like take a little bit more map control, put Dignitas severely on the defensive, and take Roshan that time. Because just in a vacuum, Dignitas has amazing Roche disruptability, just in terms of the Clockwork Gyro Queen of Pain core. That can really, really get into that pit and make your life hell. Something that QPad really only have a response to in the form of Magnus. So in order to Roche, top, they might catch out Universe.
It'll be okay. Just open wounds, nothing to follow up. Go ahead.
Right. So what I was saying is that as long as they generate enough space, they can take a Roche on, but their Roche speed will not be quite fast enough unless Dignitas are about half a map away. So I think that's probably what QPad are going to do, if indeed they want Roche. I feel like right now it's actually not tremendously as important for them to do that, as it is to sort of constrict Dignitas' map control, prevent Snaking from getting any more kills, and just keep Dignitas from being able to drag their way back into the game slowly.
Yeah, it's a good point. There's Cogs, very annoying to fight in around the pit. Flat Cannon's pretty good there as well. And then, of course, you have things like Call Down, which are a total pain in the ass. So definitely makes sense. It looks like Dignitas, despite that big team fight, despite that AoE, they don't want to take fights right now. They recognize they're pretty far behind. They have a Prophet who's not really the best direct combat hero, more of a ganking and split pusher, so they'll go for the trade. But can they trade in time is the question. QPad, they may see Dignitas going for their tier 1 and either go for 2 here, or even just rotate to the Roche pit, or nope, they're going to TP top and defend, so they get a tier 1, and no trade for Dignitas. No trade at all.
It's very, very unfortunate, because Universe, of course, he just hasn't had nearly of an easy lane, or at the very least, he hasn't been able to find quite the farm that Sing Sing has. I mean, Sing Sing, we actually see him building quite a way towards the Orchid Malevolence, and I love this pick here, LD. I think it's going to be so effective.
Mid lane, blink in from Snakehane, Bryce to be mini low, but there's a Dragon Tail, there's a Clap, he's cogged in with 60 Bambo, Mini's on the run, Centaur stop as well, great micro for Mini, Bambo now running for his life, Select skewers in on the backside, way too sexy, goes down to Jarex, the RP blown just for Bambo, that's some hate. I think they're feeling that Roche after this fight, Sing Sing charging it as well, an Illusion Room picked up by Snakehane, but he's low and he'll have to run. And either you go Roche or you go tier 2 at this point, I feel. Well, maybe not. Dignitas just respawned so damn quickly. I mean, if this is like, I'm feeling like it's 5-10 minutes later than it is, but well, they're all back up again. Still a great fight for QPad.
No question about it. QPad right now, they're just very difficult for Dignitas to actually initiate on and win. I mean, Dignitas are suffering from basically at the very least a levels problem. Just look at Solace on this Nature's Prophet. This Nature's Prophet is basically a walking mechanism right now, LD. He can get somewhere, but once he actually gets there, what does he do precisely? Level 1 ultimate, level 2 Nature's Call, and about 81 auto attack damage. That's a Prophet that just, it doesn't make much of a difference if he's at the fight or off the screen.
Not again, Snakehane. I've seen this movie before. Is it going to end the same way?
Oh, no.
It is. It ends with Jarex dropping the follow-up stun. The Split Earth was there, and the kill comes out. You're right. I mean, they have heroes that just aren't really combat-worthy at this point. Even the Queen of Pain, I feel, isn't particularly combat-worthy because QPad have so many stuns. Especially the ranged Dragon form from Dragon Knight. One of the best stuns of the game to deal with a hero like Queen of Pain, because it's reliable single target, you can't miss it, and it's ranged. I mean, what's better than that?
I really think, if I were Sing Sing, I would be, sorry, if I were Snaking, I would be brutally rushing the BKB right now, but we actually see him start the Aghanim Scepter. So this is a very snaking choice in the sense that he's a very aggressive player. He wants to sort of tip the scales back in their favor with more damage. But I think this is really problematic. Is Solace actually TPing in here?
That's an RTK TP right into 4 enemy heroes. Down he will go. It could be something like a Force Staff as well. I mean, or even a Yule Scepter. I'm not.
Or a Dagon.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it could be a Dagon. So we'll have to wait and see. Normally, you start the point booster if you're going Aghanims, but either way, he's not getting a big item, and he's not getting one that'll help him tank particularly. Which I think at this point, you just literally buy any item that you can afford. Could have bought the Ogre X, decides not to. Let's see what he turns it into. And here comes the pressure top. Looks like they got a tier 2, and for Dignitas, what's the trade?
No trade, and the problem is, what I think is very smart from QPad here, and I was trying to comment on it before, but it's just this game is way too fast and furious for me, is that once Sing Sing finishes this Orchid, they've essentially closed Snaking out of the game for a pretty long time. And that's why I think the preemptive BKB would actually be very smart. You need some sort of way to not just be disabled in fights if you're Snaking. If he's just stunned and silenced and taken out of the fight, they don't have a backup plan until Universe gets like 2 more items.
Oh, Select is lumbering down to the bottom lane. They want to maybe go on Waga, who's gone for an Armlet, gone for some decent damage, which also, by the way, gives you a ton of strength and therefore is fantastic with Empower, as Empower is based on your base damage. But Yeah, we'll see. I feel like even if he gets a BKB, he could still easily die to a Blink RP.
Oh, yeah.
So it'll help, but only if you get it off. And against a hero like Dragon Knight, we've seen that initiating stun. I mean, if he comes around the corner, if the Leshrac stun comes from out of nowhere, because let's be honest, that's where Jerex's stuns have been coming from this game. It could be tough to dodge, but
it's going to require not just the ability to turn yourself into avatar mode, but also a little bit of an attitude readjustment. Because at this point, I don't think Snaking is just going to turn this game on a dime with solo kills, and it would actually behoove him not to put himself in positions where he thinks he can get solo kills. QPad might actually go for the Rosh right now, by the way. With the armlet, they actually speed it up substantially because Waga does so much more damage.
Yeah, Select's actually only level 9, so I mentioned it power won't be in play just yet, but will be coming soon, and Saint's going Orchid. Once he gets this Orchid, you're really going to wish you to that BKB on Snake King, but let's be honest, even if he was rushing the BKB, he still wouldn't have it. It still would be a little while until he picked it up. Maybe the Ogre Club helps him live here or there, although I doubt it, to be totally honest. And
not in a fight like this. They need Dignitas, and they're comfortable. Everybody other than Snake King is very comfortable with slowing this game down, and it's kind of what they have to do, unfortunately. Even though they're getting substantially out-farmed, I just don't see how at this point Dignitas are able to pull off something huge. They might get
this might be that something huge right now. Right here, Mini, Snake King's invis, he'll throw out the ult, he blows him up in a matter of seconds, but the turnaround stun comes for Waga. Where's that RP? Oh, skewers and catches out too. Actually bounced into the cogs while doing so, but where's that follow-up damage? Jarek's on the backside, Sing late to this fight, and meanwhile, it's a bit of a cleanup party for Dignitas, isolating and picking heroes off one at a time. Sing, he'll join the fight after RP is blown. The Split Earth is there from Jarex. Cleans up one. Now Sing cogged in, but can they deal with this Lifestealer? Can they kill him off? Bambo on the run. The former teammate Sing brings him down. Bambo, why you feed? Sing says, why you feed? Snake King, he'll find a teleport scroll lingering on the ground. He'll pick that one up. The one thing that I dislike from QPad this game, well, I feel like Sing could have been a little bit more involved early, but he is now. He's got Orchid, he's got Armlet, and I think it's crucial for him to stay involved as this game moves forward.
Definitely. This is something that we sometimes see from QPad, just because I still think they're working out the kinks in some of their team fight plans.
Mini again, mid lane, the blink is there, the turnaround comes, the Hand of God deployed. He's actually alive, and Jarex was looking for one of those magical splitters. He just can't miss this game, it feels, but won't find it in the end. Universe trying to TP out. Where's the split earth? Is it there? It's always there. Jarex, there when you need him, there when you don't want him to be there. He's always there. I feel like I'm watching one of those home alarm system commercials right now, because seriously, Jarex.
I feel like he's scooting around in the wheelchair of Professor X from X-Men, and he's just like scooting to the source of a fight and just be like, ah, yes, you'll be at that position in 5 seconds. I'll just go ahead and split Earth there.
Jesus, man, it's too much. I mean, players are streaky in competitive sports, right? You see a basketball player get hot, they keep on landing, you know, shot after shot, fadeaway jumpers, doesn't matter. Jarex is hot right now, and surprisingly for Leshrac, that's actually very important.
He's firing them from like half court, LD, and he's sinking every last one. I mean, 10-5-5. He's been part of 15 of their 17 kills. Nobody else on the team has even been in more than 10.
Meanwhile,
he's everywhere.
Meanwhile, a very sad Solus, I think, will he be able to TP away? He won't. Saint picks him off. Yeah, you can't really ask for more. They have 18 kills. He's been in on, like you said, 15 of them. So, alright, so trying to sort of take stock of this game. And QPad leading by about 7.5k gold, about 5k, 6k experience. They have all of their outer towers aside from the tier 1 mid, the tier 1 bottom. So pretty solid map control. Somewhat decent aggressive wards. They have a strong pushing composition. They're getting their core items up. What's the next step?
For QPad?
Yeah, for QPad.
I think at QPad, at this point, you can probably start pushing. I feel very, very comfortable doing this every time they have an RP cooldown. And the one not nice thing for QPad here is that it's just because their core heroes are farming so well, Select has actually been developing very poorly. He's got his Blink Dagger, but he's still stuck at level 9, which now puts him at the bottom. I think he's basically a walking RP, and so they should seek to take fights on Dignitas. Now, Dignitas, they're maneuvering themselves against that. You do see double Force Staff. Snake King's Force Staff is done. Sexy Bambo's Force Staff is done. I think these are smart pickups that lets them get away from fights. So QPad's job is to not let Dignitas get away. Universe can still be ganked. Shadowblade does not give him that much considering how much they can chase. And I really think it's just take fights, then push the last outer towers and go high ground.
Yeah, they have a good lineup to go high ground. They have RP, one of the ultimate weapons for that. You have a lifestealer who could infest and allow that RP to be even more effective. Of course, you have a Dragon Knight, one of the best siege engines in the world of Dota as far as carries go. And he has kept his ultimate at level 1, which is very smart. Until you get level 16, there's really no point, and it will help you push faster. So, well, that was...
This is like primo Dragon Knight push time, is when you're very high level, but you're still holding that tier 1 ultimate. And that's part of what the armlet helps you with, too. It really does help one of those long sieges substantially. They have heals, too, coming from Chen, obviously, so...
Yeah, they have the heals. The mechanism isn't up yet. I mean, maybe they're looking at building a mech or a pipe first. That's the one thing I'll look at the team and say, they kind of need it, because we saw Mini died from about half health, a little bit more, just to a Snaking ultimate in that last fight. And you're up against tons of AoE, tons of nuke damage. Some of it not super spammable, like cooldown has a decent 48-second cooldown, I believe, or even 50 seconds at the lower levels, so 50 or 45. So they have some spells with long cooldowns, but it's going to be hard to push them. Maybe a Piper Mech or BKB for Dragon Knight, but aside from that, I'm with you. I think you could just muscle down these towers pretty much whenever you want.
I think it's the Q-Padish thing to do too. LD is just to push and go and win.
That's not a
win.
Q-Padish, really? we're making that a word now.
I do wanna point out that mech or pipe would help, but they do have something almost as good, which is Aegis, and I don't know if either you or I mentioned, but it's actually on Jared.
I was just seeing the same thing, and it makes a lot of sense though.
Yeah. I mean, those omniscient split Earths, you might as well buy like 2 to 3 more of them with that Aegis. There's no problem. And he's got it for about 2 more minutes. I like this, I do like the Sanjin Yasha, by the way. I think movement speed lifestealer is the new thing. And this will actually let him chase Queen of Pain even with Force Staff. It's only Cogs that's going to stop him.
Yeah, the Cogs are, they could be the saving grace or the absolute death trap disaster for the team. If he Cogs at his teammates with Sing Sing, they are royally screwed. So they'll take this tower unopposed, and the one nice thing about the Leshrac Aegis is this is a hero who dies and comes back to life and is equally good and keeps the mana and the HP. Dragon Knight, he comes back in melee form if he is ranged. Otherwise, he can cast it. Sing Sing, his rage might be in cooldown. Not the case for Jax. They're going to look to break the base now. Universe is trying to base trade. He ain't winning this trade. Glyph is available, but even with that, I just feel the Edict, all the creeps. Looks like QPad pulling ahead. They're going to get 1 Rex basically on opposed Vic, and we'll even see Dignitas TP back. But can they defend?
I think Snaking is going late. He should have come. Ooh, nice hook actually.
Hook catches out a few, and now Sing Sing giving chase. Will he be able to pick up Solus? No, look like just gonna work on the racks. The cooldown is here. Without the mech, without the pipe, the creeps will die. Now Jarek's caught out. Remember, he's got the Aegis. He'll come back now. The BKB was deployed. The Queen of Pain ult. Good damage from Snaking, but just not quite enough. Q-Pad though will be forced back. A buyback from Sexy Bambo. They want to fight this, Vic. They want to take it in a blinket, and RP might prevent that fight from happening. Oh, the damage. Oh, the pain. It's too much. But they don't get the Rex. Dignitas do defend, but it comes at the cost of 4 buybacks. Can they even get any kills to make it worth it? Solus on the run. There's your Pulse Nova. Tries to TP out inside of the trees. Jarek's not today, sir. Down he will go. 4 step forward from Snaking. Now giving chase on the Wagamama. And will he be able to pick up this kill? There is some armlet toggling. It's hard to find the kills against that Dragon Knight. Will he toggle off? He's got to be careful about what he does it. No toggle for you, sir.
No.
They get another. And now the chase is on. They hook Sing Sing. He's got his armlet, but he's thrown up in the air. The Rocket Barrage flies forth. Down he will go. And Dignitas, let's not forget they blew like 4 buybacks there, but Aegis was expended. And they're not done yet. They want some more. Midi on the run. The send back to keep the Dragon Knight alive. It looks like Midi's going to fall. This fight just will not end. And when it's all said and done, the final hero to fall is Chen.
Once they had those 4 buybacks, LD, they were essentially all in, just in terms of if those buybacks were just wasted, if QPad had gotten away, they'd have just dug themselves about a 7k gold hole, right? So they had to make it work, and I actually really like this from Dignitas. I feel that they suffer sometimes for maybe a lack of boldness, and that was definitely bold. They chased QPad all the way back to their tier 3, pick up a tower and 3 kills, and they trade off quite a bit of the gold and the XP that they actually lost with that fight. And they defend Raxus too, so still in it, but by a more and more frayed thread. I mean, that could have gone even if it had gone even a slight bit worse for Dignitas, we'd see them staring down the barrel of something really serious.
They had to chase. I mean, you blow 4 buybacks, you can't just go and farm off of 4 buybacks. No. You have to chase. You have to force the issue. And at the end of the day, I mean, it's crazy, but I'm looking at the graph, and it seems like despite the quad buybacks, it is fairly early. The buybacks themselves aren't expensive. The big issue is if you buy back and you die again, and then you can't fight, and they're taking your racks, then you're really screwed. But for the moment, they came out ahead in terms of gold, as well as experience off of that. Aegis was used up.
Right. They lost the Aegis, and of course it doesn't show... Like, buyback isn't negative gold earned, so it doesn't impute the cost of that. It's a little worse for Dignitas than it looks. But just if you look at the XP doesn't lie, and Dignitas actually, they're starting to equalize in terms of levels. In fact, Universe and Snaking are now ahead of Waga and Jerax. And that'll sort of let them not feel just so overwhelmed in fights. That's what happens when you're at a severe XP deficit, is that you just feel like you can't get anything done. Oh, Snaking spotted out, unfortunately, immediately with that Invisrune.
Yeah.
I think Jerax is sharing his Omniscience hacks with Mini here, because that was a preternatural Sentry Ward placement.
Yeah, they do have an Observer Ward in the middle lane, so it looks like just saw him pop the Invis perhaps after the pre-wave, and I was sort of listening to you and not really paying attention, to be totally honest.
Sorry for lulling you there with my
the soothing dulcet tones of Victorman, but at the end of the day, well, let's be honest. QPad hasn't gotten racks yet, and they're mostly building for mid-game. Items like Armlet, as well as Sandra Yasha, now a Gem up, a Drums, a Waga. They're not angling for big late-game damage. They're not building items that will carry them well into the late game. And if it goes late enough, a hero like Gyro can out-carry things like Lifestealer and Dragonite, especially if you get big cogs. If they catch these heroes in cogs, you aren't getting out of them. There's nothing you could do. By the time you eat your way out, you're probably dead if that Gyro has enough damage items. So I do feel Dignitas can take it late, but it's going to be hard.
They have to get to late. They can take it late, although it's difficult. I mean, we just saw in this series most recently between Alliance and Dignitas at the, I'm losing it, but at the finals DreamHack Invitational, that sometimes you get the Rapier and you still lose.
Again with the hook, they catch out Sing Sing, but he just turns around and says, screw you, BMO, I want in. Universe, the BKB will wear off, and now the turnaround may come. The Split Earth will land. The Dragon Tail as well. He's on the run. Down will go. It's Jerax in the front lines. Man mode Leshrac. This support Leshrac can move. Now BMO, the cogs to fly, but caught in position, picked off, disconnect from Snake King. Not sure if that was internet issues or if he just felt this game was over, but it looks like QPad are taking a lane of racks, and with that, we may well be headed to a Game 3.
I mean, can you blame him? That was a frustrating game to be Snaking Queen of Pain. Like, you know that sort of the plan of your team is counting on the fact that you'll...
Not a rage quit, but the GG's come.
Alright, yeah, we do have the GG's, and that makes perfect sense. Dignitas, obviously the buyback's still, I think, on cooldown mostly. Yeah, for about, oh man, half a minute. That's actually extremely careful timing from QPad there, LD. Rather than wait for the Roshan, which would have come up in a minute, they chose to make their big end-game teamfight push just before Dignitas' buyback CDs came up. And that's very, very smart and crisp play from QPad, honestly, and gave them the best chance to close out the game. Even without really a great RP in that last fight. I didn't even see RP. I heard it, but I didn't see it.
Yeah, it was a chaotic fight. Whenever cogs are involved in this many melee heroes, good luck, especially Chen creeps as well. Good luck finding out what's going on. But in the midst of it all, QPad, they'll take game 2. And they will now be tied up 1-1 in the best of 3. This one, it felt like Dignitas might have just lost it at the 5-minute mark with the amount of aggression and success they had in the late stage. But bear in mind, Dignitas, this was a very frustrating day for the players, for the teams, of course. A lot of delays, a lot of remakes, a lot of pauses, and just internet issues. I know a lot of the players just kind of were, you know, frustrated with the connection issues, and you can't blame them for that. You just want to come out and play and not have to worry about all that crap. But the good news is, I believe they may get their other 2 players back for this Game 3, as this game was played in secret, the deciding Game 3. So presumably the DDoSers were not active, if indeed it was DDoS going on. But well, we'll see if those 2 players are back. I'm actually not sure. I'm just guessing, since the games were played offline.
Do you know what day this was actually played out?
These matches were actually played right after, so we were told basically to tell the viewers. Well, you'll see the replay ends here. But we were basically told to tell the viewers, hey guys, these games are not being played today. Go home. And then, well, the games were being played, but they weren't being broadcast. So Game 3 is coming up next, hopefully with the full Dignitas roster. But guys, this is the deciding Game 3. If QPad loses, they go home. If Dignitas loses, they go home. The winner, they make it into that double elimination bracket. They will play Na'Vi in the deciding Game 3, and we will have the broadcast of that game coming up for you right after these messages. You've been watching the G1 League, brought to you by Beyond the Summit. I'm LD, and he is Vikramond. If you enjoy his casting, be sure to follow him. A great up-and-coming caster, also doing a lot of fantastic work for the community. I know some preview articles for Team Liquid, and if you want to follow him, it's twitter.com/Vikramond, Vykromond. As for me, I'm LD. Stay tuned. Game 3 coming up after this.